All right, Patreon, we've got Lyle sharing some extra stories here. Go ahead, Lyle.
So here's an ironic thing, and people ask
Okay.
me, what are some weird stuff I've seen? Ironically, I have seen what I believe is a ghost. I'm
Whoa.
known for cryptid hunting, and I'm always in the field, and I've never had a definitive sighting of a creature. I would say it was a cryptid, although I've had some close call incidents, but I certainly have seen something that I would, say was a ghost. And that occurred back when I was a senior in high school. I had a friend who lived in a home near my neighborhood, and he and his family had talked about seeing the ghost of what they call a young boy,
Ooh.
a boy in their home. And I'd heard it on occasion, and I don't know this, I didn't put much stock in it. I wasn't going investigative style back in those days like I would
Right,
now.
of course.
But several of our friends said they had seen it, and I was thinking, maybe there is something to it, and even his parents said they had seen it. So one night I was waiting, we were going to go out, and it was like 10 p.m., and I was sitting on this fireplace watching TV kind of diagonally, and this was right across from the front door
Okay.
that came into their home, and he was getting ready or doing whatever he was doing. And all of a sudden, something catches my peripheral vision, and I look up just quickly, and I see what looks like the
Oh
whitish
no.
figure, about the size of a boy, the outline of a human, walk right by the front door and down the hallway and disappear from view.
Oh
And I
man.
was like, whoa. And this happened pretty quickly. I said, hey man, I saw the ghost. And, and my friend was very nonchalant about this thing. He's like, oh yeah, we see it there all the time. Like, no big deal. And I'm like, dude,
Oh boy.
this is cool. And so, I kind of looked trying to figure out what if there was another explanation for that. There was kind
Yeah.
of a
Yeah.
window here. I thought, well, what if a car light? And I'm thinking, but what I saw was definitely for the most part walking, and not just, it
Mm.
wasn't just like a blur of a flash or a blur, it was like a figure.
Yeah.
And so that kind of sparked my interest. I did some ghost research back in
Wow.
around those times, and uh, I had a girlfriend that lived, her parents owned a cabin out in a remote lake in Texas. And you drive down those old county roads, and there's usually graveyards out there. And sometimes we'd go there and kind of get out and look around, like maybe
Yeah,
going to
sure.
see a ghost. It was scary and stuff. And I remember one night we were, this wasn't far from the time that I saw the ghost, but we were out in one of these, out of the way graveyards, and it just had kind of a chain link fence around it. It was pretty
Oh
small.
man.
We didn't, I didn't have a flashlight or anything, any kind of gear with me. It was just sort of off the cuff. We're driving to our parents after dark, and let's go
Yep.
look at this graveyard. So we're walking around in there, and I remember she was somewhere else, and I walked all the way to the back. I was fairly fearless, I guess, like I am now. But I just walked in the back, walked the back in, and all of a sudden I hear something over outside the chain link fence, over in the woods. Now I couldn't see it because it was just
Yeah.
dark over there. And then I hear this, like a guttural growl snort thing, like just
Whoa.
huge. Not
Oh
not
man.
definitely, if it was a dog or coyote or whatever, it would have to be huge. And it didn't
Wow.
sound quite like, to me, it didn't sound quite like a dog, and certainly not like a coyote. Coyotes are kind of meek and they run off anyway, but
Right.
uh, it scared me to death. That was the only time I just got up and ran. And I just ran towards
Wow.
the front and said, come on, we got to get out of here right now. There's something over there in those woods, and
Wow.
it's huge. And so we run out. And thinking back on it, I thought, well, maybe it was a hog. But in those days, this was years and years ago, there really wasn't hardly any hogs in this area of Texas. There are now. And if
Mm,
something like that happened now, you could suspect a hog because it kind of would explain the snorting or the deep resonance of that animal noise. But
okay.
I'm not sure what that was. Of course, maybe thinking back, we talked about dogman on the show. Maybe
Yeah.
this was a dogman. I don't know, but I just hauled ass out of that.
That's crazy. Yeah, I would have done the same, dude. That's crazy, man. Oh,
So and similar things have happened later in my cryptid research. I was once up on Mercer Bayou in southern Arkansas, right near Boggy
okay.
Creek, and myself and my late research partner Tom Shirley were paddling on the bayou at around midnight or 2 a.m. We used to just paddle
Oh,
around
wow.
at night, and we hear this howl come up maybe 100 yards away, and it's the ambient noise in swamps is loud. You hear the frogs and the insects, and the paddle of the boat. So when we first heard it, you kind of stop and listen,
Mm,
like, what was that? And then we
yeah.
hear it again, and it was this kind of this, like
Wow.
not a coyote. By the second time, I said, "That's not a coyote, is it?" And he's like, "No." He's a very seasoned kind of outdoorsman. He's like, "That's not a coyote." So about 45 seconds later, it does it again, and by now we could tell that this was a very unique noise. It didn't sound like a bird. It didn't sound like, a canid. Nothing we could
Wow.
easily identify. It wasn't a bull alligator. Any number of noises we've heard.
Hmm.
So it was pretty spooky, and we didn't hear it again. Well, now we're kind of like hyped up and noisy and stuff. And finally we turn around, we kind of paddle back, and we're talking and making noise now. We're not
Yep. Yep.
being as silent, kind of jazzed up about hearing that howl. So we get back. I don't even know, the bayou winds back and forth. So I don't know how far, but it was all the way back to our camp where we pulled the canoe out, and the camp is up on a hill because that's kind of where you don't want to camp down. The swamp can rise
Oh,
and
yeah,
fall.
sure. Yeah.
So we pulled that out and got just about the time we got up on the hill to our camp. All of a sudden, we hear this howl thing come from down right near the water where we pulled the canoe out, just on the other side of the channel.
Wow.
And I'm like, I just remember thinking that's the same thing. And I grab a flashlight and I just start running down the hill trying to see whatever it was. And he's trying to
Oh,
get his
man.
recorder out. We caught off guard again. He's trying to record the howl. It
Yeah.
howls again. I get down there, and I don't see whatever it is, and I know I'm right there up on it.
Yeah.
And then the next time, 45 seconds, 30 seconds, 45 seconds later, hear it again, but now it's like 50 yards off already.
Oh,
Whatever that
man.
thing was, it just took off, howled again, and then coyotes kind of chattered in and nervously, and we never heard it again. But
Wow.
I couldn't get my flashlight on it, and I felt
Oof.
it's possible that was the Fouke monster. This is an area with a lot of sightings, and it
Okay. Yeah.
certainly fit the from the vocals that I've heard, or those that are described to me, it sounded similar. So,
Wow. That's crazy, man. Mm.
pretty, the hair stand up on the back of your neck, and then
Oh,
that's when
for
you really,
real. Yeah. Oh, boy. Mm. Wow.
you're like, what are we doing out here in the middle of the swamp? Are we idiots? Or
At 2 a.m.
right. This
Oh,
all
man.
sounded good on paper, and it'll make a great part of a book, but really,
Yeah. Totally. Oh, have you ever gone out to like the Pacific Northwest to check out stuff?
I've never gone up, researching Bigfoot for that purpose.
Okay.
I've been up there a lot
Okay.
over the years, but I've never been out over there. All my research is pretty much been in the south and southeast,
Gotcha.
and
Yeah.
more from here towards Florida. I mean, I've been out in the national forests in Florida and other places. So
Mm.
to me, that's, people do ask, like, you're going to write a Bigfoot book about, it's like, I'm kind of the Southern Bigfoot guy. So
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah, I agree. Yep. And you do it well. You definitely do. Oh man, thanks for hanging out and sharing some stories. Lyle, I'm gonna go ahead and cut the recording.